Hello, my name is Peter Collins, and I want to share something very special with you, whether a person is a salesperson or a sales closer. Now, after being in sales for more than 55 years, I thought I'd heard pretty much about all I needed to know about closing. Yet in the past few days, I've noted a few epic quotes on the subject of closing, which are that unusual, I want to share them with you. Now, many of my friends call me a wordsmith for a number of reasons. I write a lot, and I'm more concerned about grammar at times than I am about good content. And that's usually not a good thing, but I'm also a keen mnemonic creator. Now, what's a mnemonic, you ask? Well, here's a mnemonic I created around the word closer some time back. And it actually says a closer is clever leverage of selling's everlasting rules. And I think that says a lot about closing. I'll repeat that. Closers are clever leverage of selling's everlasting rules. And in fact, that's probably the best explanation you can give about a closer. Then a few days ago, I read something that opened my eyes about closing. The author was someone I'd never met nor communicated with, but I will in the near future because I think what he's done is terrific. And his name is Larry Enzer. And he had this to say about the word closer. If you take the C from closer, you simply have loser, because the C stands for compassion, control, consistency, and finally, contract. And isn't that what selling's all about? It's exactly what selling is about. So let's look at each of those words. In any selling process, if you take away compassion, you'll find it very hard to sell, because the seller and the buyer need to build compassion, need to build some sort of synergy so that they can actually work together. And compassion is probably the most appropriate word for this. Control is also absolutely crucial, because if the seller loses control, there won't be any sale. The next is consistency. The seller needs to be consistent right from the very beginning when the presentation starts, to the point where the contract is signed. Yes, consistency is crucial. And the fourth factor is the contract. Without a contract, you haven't got a closed sale. No, without a contract, there is no sale. And the interesting thing is, the contract is just the beginning of the sale, because the contract still needs to be delivered on. And that's what selling's all about. Find the customer, get them to the point where you can actually do a presentation. Then you exercise compassion, control, consistency, and finally have a signed contract. And from that point onward, you need to concern yourself with delivery and follow-up, because those two factors will be where your referrals come from and where more sales are made, especially to the person you have just sold to.
Hello, this is Peter Collins with another sales tip for the professional salesperson. The comparison close is a close of similar nature and value to the well-known Benjamin Franklin close, which is also referred to as the balance sheet close. But with the comparison close, unlike the Benjamin Franklin close or the balance sheet close, the seller's product or service is compared to or even against another product or service. To sales rookies, or those new to selling, or even those with limited knowledge in selling, this close, the comparison close, could prove to be a difficult one indeed. But it'll be of benefit if the lesser experienced seller undertakes some solid hard work and good sound effort. Then this close could be learned and applied by any salesperson and would not remain too difficult to use for too long. So here are 4 steps to follow when using the comparison close. Firstly, you'll need to compare the advantages of 2 separate products or services and simply ask for an opinion. Naturally, you should provide more advantages for the product than your opposition's product. Now, if you can't, you simply don't know your product well enough. Secondly, you'll need to compare the disadvantages of 2 separate products or services and again, ask for an opinion. It is essential with both advantages and disadvantages a balance sheet, which is a piece of paper with a line across the top and a line through the middle. That's right, this should be drawn up to look like a balance sheet and then read out aloud, ticked off, analysed and agreed to by you and your prospect. If this is not done, the comparison close will most probably fail, and it'll fail due to lack of involvement, and remember, a non-involved prospect in most cases cannot be swayed into deciding in your favour. Thirdly, if steps 1 and 2 are applied satisfactorily, it should be easy enough to take the decision-making process away from the prospect. On the other hand, if your comparison close summary is well prepared and intelligently summarized, then executed in all areas of interest to your prospect, which are the 2 rows of the balance sheet, which we've named advantages and disadvantages, then done properly it should become a foregone conclusion that both of you and your prospect will agree on a product or service at question. When that happens, simply congratulate the prospect and close the sale. And fourthly, you'll need to again compare both sides of the balance sheet and then give all of your reasons that would make it advantageous for your customer to buy your product or service. At this point, you simply ask for an opinion. If the opinion is favourable, then you proceed with a close at once. And remember that any delay to close a sale, whenever you use a comparison close, could end up with a stalemate between you and the prospect, and when that happens, it could prove costly indeed. So follow this process to the letter, and the comparison close will not prove to be a difficult one at all. But if you want to tinker with it, and tinker with the way that it works effectively, be prepared to walk away frustrated and without an order.